I guess one of the first things that I kind of wanted to ask you is, as a graduate of the London School of Economics, okay, there aren't that many pop stars other than yourself and, let's say, Mick Jagger, who graduated from this school. Are there?
Not a whole amount.
So your reunion would be
focused towards social sciences. So a lot of people end up in the city and sort of law and banking and those sort of areas.
Okay, so your reunion, at least as far as the entertainment world, would be rather small, right?
Yeah, well.
And I was just curious.
But it would be fun. I think it'd be more fun for me because I get to ask Mick Jagger all the questions I've always wanted to know about the Rolling Stones.
Right, you could find out how he's maintained such a long career. Which of the schools at Harvard were you in?
I was at the Extension School, and I was doing the Certificate in Business Management.
Oh, so you were at the B School?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Well, let's get into it. I guess, the questions that I really kind of want to ask. And I kind of wanted to, it seemed to me that your music indicates that you're not afraid of expressing your social and your political views. I mean, I'm taking a listen to Say How I Feel, which you wrote. And my question is, do you think that artists... or more artists should use their artistry to promote their political and or social beliefs?
Ooh, that's a tricky one because I think artistic expression has to come from a real personal place, and if you're about a certain thing that doesn't relate to politics or social concerns, then that's not what you should write about. I think it's about writing something meaningful to you that will connect with an audience. For me, I don't know. I'm sort of, I feel strongly about certain things, and sometimes I want to write about them. But there are other political views that I hold that sometimes I don't think are appropriate to put into song. Certainly my views about Africa and my hopes and aspirations, in particular for Ghana, I've always been very open about. And, I think certainly on Gold Coast, it was very obvious where my inspiration came from. And on this new album, even though it doesn't directly reference any African music, a song like B, which is just about forging ahead, is very much inspired by my African background and by kind of what I'm seeing going on in Africa today, which is a lot of progress.
A lot of artists may be afraid that expressing their own social or political views might hurt their career. Is that something that you have any concern about?
No, just because I think that I talk about stuff in my music and in my music career that I feel is relevant to who I am as an artist as well. And so I think it's relevant. I don't expect everyone to agree 100% with my views, but, I think it's very much like music. You can't please everyone all the time. You've got to do what you believe in, and that's very much where I come from as an artist.
Well, in thinking about the question, last night, I started thinking about some of the artists who have not been afraid to express their, their views, and they met with tremendous success. I'm thinking particularly of people like Bob Marley and Fela, and even, American artists like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye. And so that led me to ask you, who are the artists that you consider to be your major influences musically?
Well, you knocked on a few of them just then.
Okay.
And interestingly, I think it's obviously they're fantastic artists with great songs. I'm thinking of Bob Marley and Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder, but I think perhaps one of the reasons I was so deeply inspired by them was also the fact that they were not afraid to express what was going on in their brain. I think it can work if you really do it with conviction. I think there's a lot to be said for it, but you know, I think it needs to come from the right place and for the right reasons. I get concerned sometimes when people jump on a bandwagon because it just feels like it may be the route to getting more, I don't know, media coverage or what have you, and sometimes that does happen. But you know, I think there's no doubt that those artists were very pure in their motivation for including political and social themes in their music, and you know, that very much inspired me. I was also very inspired by Nina Simone, who was also quite revolutionary in her own way, and then just beautiful vocalists, I guess, who just let their spirit shine through, like Sade and Aretha Franklin. Those are all very strong inspirations for me.
Is there anybody, you know, among the current crop of artists that you have strong responses to, or that you might feel that, you know, serve as an influence for yourself?
The current crop. That's an interesting one. Well, I love Esperanza Spalding. I think that her playing and her voice are incredible gifts. Spalding?
Oh, Esperanza, yes.
I think she's really amazing and very different from what you normally see. It's very refreshing to see that. Gosh, who else? Really interesting one. It almost seems like now more than at any other time that I can remember in recent years that certainly a lot of the R&B acts are not afraid to step out of the box in terms of trying new genres in their music. It's sort of, this genre bending thing has become less of a risk than it used to be considered to be. So I'm kind of inspired by what a lot of the young urban artists are doing, both here and in the US. Over here we've got a guy called Tiny Temper who's a rapper. He had a fantastic song called Pass Out. It came out last year, and I'm sure if you haven't heard of it yet in the States, you will soon. He's a real talent.
No, we're starting to hear quite a bit from Tiny Temper. You know, okay. My question, though, I guess my next question is, a lot of the current R&B artists are produced by other musicians or producers. And so I wonder whether or not that might have an impact on, you know, or whether their music is shaped by their own artistic vision as opposed to, you know, the artistic vision of the producers that they select to work with.
Well, you know, the trick is having that collaboration work. I mean, you could go and work with the funkiest, most out there producer, and if you're not into that sound and you don't want to go there, it's not going to work. So I guess what I'm admiring is when it does work. You know, like the Chris Brown track, "Beautiful People," I think is an incredible song, but it's not a style of sound that you would associate with an artist like that. And when it does work, I think it's fantastic because it just shows that an artist has stepped out of the box and taken a risk. And it works, you know? But I don't think there's anything wrong with collaborating and taking guidance from a really great producer. I mean, look at some of the greatest albums of all time, you know, Thriller, Michael Jackson. That was as much about Quincy Jones as it was Michael, you know. So when it works, it's a beautiful thing, and there's nothing wrong with the producer playing a heavy role in creating the album.